The pavement sparkled under the noon sun, and the scent of fresh croissants and espresso from the nearby cafe mingled with the crisp air. Outside Alara Mall, Cassandra Velen stood at the top of the marble steps like a queen surveying her kingdom. Her white silk dress caught the light with every move, flowing softly with the spring breeze. Around her, the world seemed to pause. Passers-by moved aside, glancing only long enough to whisper her name with awe or envy. To most, Cassandra was elegance personified. The CEO of Velen & Co., the face behind a billion-dollar fashion empire, the woman who had graced magazine covers with the headline, "From Street Store to Empire." But behind the poise and power was a woman who rarely smiled anymore. Her eyes, a striking steel gray, seemed to weigh everyone and everything with caution. She had mastered the art of appearing untouchable. Her personal assistant, Mira, trailed behind, holding 2 branded shopping bags. Cassandra took deliberate steps down the gleaming stairs, mentally organizing the rest of her day: 3 meetings, a late lunch, and the closing on a new property deal. Nothing could afford to be out of place. Not the world, not her image. That's when she felt it. A slight tug, gentle, almost accidental. Her breath caught. A filthy hand had brushed her dress. She turned sharply. An elderly man stood behind her, thin, trembling, his shoulders bent under the weight of years and hardship. He wore a faded jacket, frayed at the edges, and his fingers were darkened with grime. But what struck Cassandra the most wasn't his appearance. It was his eyes. Wide, urgent, familiar? "Ma'am, I'm sorry." His voice cracked like dry leaves. "I didn't mean to." Her instincts took over. The slap came hard and fast. The man recoiled as if a wave had hit him. The shopping bags clattered behind her. A murmur rose from the small crowd nearby, shocked gasps, unsure glances. "Don't you ever touch me?" she said, her tone icy, almost venomous. He didn't argue. He didn't rise. He just remained still, lowering his gaze. In his hand, slightly, crushed, was a torn envelope. Mira stepped forward. "Should I call security?" Cassandra didn't answer. Her hand tingled where it had connected with his cheek. She clenched her jaw and walked away, slipping into the back seat of her car. Inside, silence enveloped her. The leather seats, the soft music from the radio, the faint hum of the city outside. It all felt too quiet. Her fingers hovered near her lips. Something about the man's voice, something under the dirt and age, clawed at a locked corner of her mind. She shook her head. It didn't matter. She had meetings to attend, people to impress. She didn't have time for beggars or guilt. Back at the steps, the man finally stood. Slowly, painfully. He picked up the envelope from the ground and carefully smoothed it out. There were creases now, but the name was still legible. Written, in faded blue ink, to Cassandra Velen. From Elena, he held the letter to his chest. "I told her I would find you," he whispered softly. "I promised her, even after the cancer took her voice, that I would get this to you." His lips trembled, but he didn't cry. Not here. Not in front of strangers. Then he walked away, unnoticed, unimportant. But he carried the one thing that could tear Cassandra's perfect life apart, or finally set it right. Cassandra sat in the back seat of her car, her eyes locked on the city beyond the tinted windows. But she wasn't seeing it. She couldn't stop hearing the man's voice, low, broken, and haunting. "Ma'am, I didn't mean to." Why had it shaken her? She had been brushed by strangers before. This wasn't new. Yet something about him, the way he looked at her, as if he knew her, as if she should know him. Her phone buzzed in her lap. Mira had texted, "All good? He's gone." She typed a quick yes, but didn't hit send. Her fingers hovered. She deleted it instead and slipped the phone back into her clutch. The car rolled into traffic. Cassandra leaned her head back and closed her eyes, but that only made it worse. A name floated up, uninvited and unwelcome. Elena. She opened her eyes instantly, heart thudding. It was a name she hadn't heard in nearly 2 decades, yet the sound of it now clung to her like smoke. She had buried it deep, along with the memories that came with it. Elena had once been her best friend, her sister in all but blood. The girl who had stayed by her side when Cassandra had nothing, when her father died and her mother broke. Elena had brought her food when the fridge was empty, shared textbooks when Cassandra couldn't afford her own, given her warmth when the nights were cold in the 1-bedroom apartment they secretly shared after they both ran from broken homes. But then Cassandra got her big break. The fashion house internship, the investor meetings, the long hours at her father's old tailor shop-turned-boutique. Slowly, Elena became a quiet shadow in the background. One argument, one terrible choice, and Cassandra had walked out of that chapter and out of Elena's life. They hadn't spoken since. She never even knew what happened to her. The car stopped at a red light. Cassandra's eyes flickered to a street vendor. He was handing a bottle of water to a beggar who looked eerily like the man she had slapped just an hour ago. Her stomach twisted. "Driver," she said abruptly. "Circle back to Alara. Slowly." The man nodded, saying nothing. As the car looped back toward the plaza, Cassandra scanned the steps, but the old man was gone. There was nothing left but footprints and a few scattered crumbs from a food truck. She rolled down the window. The air stung. For the first time in years, her world felt shaky. "What was in that envelope?" she whispered. She didn't know why she cared, but she did. Back at her penthouse, Cassandra tried to distract herself. She turned on the news. She called her assistant. She even picked up a fashion portfolio she had been ignoring for days. But nothing helped. She ended up in her study, a glass of untouched wine by her side, scrolling through old social media posts. She typed Elena Marlowe into the search bar. No results. She tried again with the old spelling. Then with her own last name, back when they used to joke they'd be sisters forever. Still nothing. But then, buried in a photo album from 18 years ago, was a picture. Grainy, sunlit, and too painful. 2 girls in threadbare clothes, sitting on a rooftop laughing over a shared blanket, and behind them a man, older, frowning, protective. Cassandra froze. That was him. The same man she had slapped today. Only back then he had a name, Mr. Jebb, Elena's uncle. The one who raised her when her mother left. The glass slipped from her hand and shattered across the hardwood floor. She stared at the screen. Her heart pounded as a single thought formed in her mind. What if Elena never left? What if she had been reaching out all along? Cassandra stood barefoot in the middle of her penthouse study, shards of broken glass glinting around her like sharp memories. The photograph on her screen hadn't changed, but something inside her had. A name, a face, a connection. Everything she'd tried to forget had returned with the force of a tidal wave. Mr. Jebb. He used to scold them when they stayed up too late, leaving the TV on as they whispered dreams about escaping their small, broken lives. He had always looked tired, even then. But he was gentle, protective. Elena used to call him her guardian ghost. And now, he was the man she'd slapped in broad daylight. A sharp knock at the door pulled her from the spiral. Mira peeked in, eyebrows raised. I heard the crash. Everything okay? Cassandra nodded, even though her voice had gone missing. Mira hesitated. The meeting with the Velin-Asia team starts in 30. Do you want me to cancel? No, Cassandra finally said. Reschedule it. Tomorrow, late. Are you sure? I said tomorrow, she repeated, her tone clipped. Mira nodded and closed the door. Cassandra didn't know what she was doing. Her empire had been built on precision, planning, and perfect image control. But now she was breaking her own rules, skipping meetings, ignoring deadlines, thinking about someone she had abandoned years ago. She pulled on a coat and stepped into the elevator, driven by a need she didn't fully understand. Her driver looked surprised when she asked to go to South Ridge. It wasn't just the poorest area of the city, it was forgotten. A place untouched by time or help. But that's where Elena had grown up. And maybe that's where Jebb had returned. As the car made its way through the changing neighborhoods, from polished glass towers to rusted fences and cracked sidewalks, Cassandra began to feel like she was peeling back the layers of her own skin. She stepped out into the noise of the street, her heels catching in the broken pavement. She was out of place. People stared. Some recognized her. Others simply wondered why someone like her had come here. She made her way to a small, aging community center, the kind that offered free soup and shared warmth. Inside, the air smelled like stale bread and disinfectant. A tired woman at the desk looked up. Can I help you? I'm looking for a man, Cassandra said, hesitating. His name is Jebb. He was here earlier today, I think. Elderly, thin. Wears a faded coat. The woman's expression shifted subtly. Jebb? He's been around here a lot lately. Comes and goes. Doesn't talk much. Cassandra took a deep breath. Do you know where he stays? The woman hesitated, then motioned toward the back exit. There's a bench outside near the chapel. Sometimes he sleeps there when he doesn't feel safe in the shelters. Cassandra walked quietly to the chapel, her steps slower now. Each one felt like she was walking deeper into her own past. And there he was, lying curled on the bench beneath an old tree, the envelope still clutched in his hands. She froze, unsure what to say. He looked smaller now, fragile. But when she stepped forward, his eyes opened slowly and locked onto hers. I didn't expect you to come, he said, voice raspy. I didn't expect to feel anything, she replied softly. He sat up slowly. I didn't mean to frighten you. I promised Elena. The name hit like a knife. Is she? Cassandra stopped herself. Is she alive? Jebb's face faltered. He looked down at the letter in his hand. She was, until 2 weeks ago. He held out the envelope, She wrote this for you, near the end. She still believed you'd come back one day. Cassandra's hands trembled as she reached for the letter. I thought I had more time, she whispered. Jeb nodded, eyes shining with unshed tears. So did she. Cassandra sat on the edge of the old wooden bench, the letter trembling in her hands. The edges were soft and frayed. The ink had bled slightly where tears or rain had kissed the paper. Jeb watched her quietly, his frail hands clasped in his lap as if holding back time itself. The envelope bore her name in a script she hadn't seen in nearly 2 decades. Round, careful, a bit shaky. Elena had always written like that, even when she was 17. Cassandra hesitated before breaking the seal. Part of her wasn't ready, because reading it meant it was real. She opened it. Inside was a single folded sheet. The paper smelled faintly of lavender. Cass, if you're reading this, then Jeb kept his promise. I'm not angry with you. I never was. I knew you had to walk away from me, from that part of your life. I knew it hurt you more than you let on. But I also knew that one day you'd remember who we were and maybe wonder what happened after you left. Cassandra swallowed hard. Her eyes blurred, but she kept reading. Life wasn't easy after you were gone. The shop we tried to keep open fell apart. Rent got too high. Jeb got sick. I worked cleaning houses for years. I never made it to design school. But I never resented you. I watched your success from afar and told people proudly, that's my sister, Cassandra Velen. Even when you didn't know, I was cheering for you. Cassandra felt something crack inside her. A part of her she thought had died. But Cass, I need to tell you something I should have told you long ago. I have a daughter. Her name is Anna. The letter slipped slightly from Cassandra's grip. She's 16 now, smart, brave. She has your fire and your stubbornness. I didn't want to raise her alone, but I didn't have a choice. Her father left when I got sick the first time. Jeb helped as much as he could, but the cancer came back and I couldn't hide it anymore. I told Anna about you. I told her you were the kind of woman who made things happen. That one day you'd come, that you'd find her. I hope this letter reaches you before it's too late. The words blurred again. Cassandra blinked rapidly, but the weight on her chest wouldn't lift. She's staying with a neighbor for now. I didn't want her to watch me fade. I didn't want her to feel abandoned like we did. But Cass, if there's even a small part of you that still remembers the girl who laughed with me on rooftops, please, find Anna. She needs someone who won't leave. She needs you. Always love, Elena. Cassandra pressed the letter to her chest, as if that could reverse time, erase mistakes, soften regrets. I didn't know, she whispered, her voice breaking. Jeb placed a weathered hand on her shoulder. She didn't want you to feel guilty. She just wanted you to know you still mattered. Cassandra stared off into the distance, her empire suddenly meaningless. $1 million portfolio couldn't hug a child. A marble office couldn't replace blood ties, broken or not. Where is she? She asked quietly. Jeb sighed. With Mrs. Calder on Banyan Street. But she doesn't know who you are. Elena. She didn't want to promise something she couldn't give. Cassandra stood, clutching the letter like a lifeline. Then I'll introduce myself. Jeb looked at her with a weary kind of hope. What are you going to say? I'm not sure, Cassandra replied, her voice firmer now. But I won't lie. I won't walk away this time. Banyan Street was a quiet lane, lined with aging homes that had seen better days. Peeling paint, rusted gates, and wilting gardens told stories of years survived but never celebrated. Cassandra stood at the edge of a small porch, far removed from the glass towers and glittering sidewalks that had shaped her life. In her hand was Elena's letter, folded, worn, sacred. The woman who opened the door was in her 50s, with kind eyes and a shawl wrapped loosely around her shoulders. Yes? She asked, cautious but not unfriendly. I'm looking for Anna, Cassandra said, her voice more fragile than she intended. Elena Marlowe's daughter. The woman paused. Her gaze sharpened. Who's asking? Cassandra hesitated. I was a friend of Elena's. A long time ago. The woman studied her for a moment, then nodded slowly. Anna's inside, but I should warn you, she's not talking much lately. Since Elena passed, she's been... Her voice trailed off. Different. She stepped aside. Cassandra entered. The small home, her designer heels silent on the old wooden floor. The air smelled of cinnamon and something warm, maybe bread. It reminded her of Elena's childhood apartment, back when things were simple. In the corner of the living room, sitting on a threadbare couch with a book open but unread, was a girl. Slender, dark-haired, with sharp eyes that mirrored Elena's. And the set of her jaw, that was Cassandra's, no doubt. Anna? The woman said gently. You have a visitor. The girl looked up, and Cassandra's heart caught. She wasn't just looking at someone new, she was looking into a mirror of the past. Elena's gaze, her own eyes, a haunting mix of what could have been. Anna stood slowly, unsure. Do I know you? Cassandra opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. How do you explain a lifetime of absence in one sentence? No, Anna said before Cassandra could respond. I don't know you, but you're dressed too fancy to be here. Her words weren't cruel, just observant. She closed her book. You're from my mom's past, aren't you? One of the people who left? The truth was a blade. Cassandra nodded. Yes, I left, and I never came back. Until now, Anna's expression didn't change. She folded her arms. Why now? She's gone. You're too late. I didn't know she was sick. You didn't know because you weren't looking. Anna's voice broke just slightly. She waited for you. Cassandra's throat tightened. I was afraid of what I'd see, of how far I'd fallen from who she remembered me to be. That's not an excuse, Anna said flatly. That's guilt. Silence swelled in the room. Even the ticking clock on the wall seemed to grow louder. Cassandra reached into her purse and pulled out the letter. She asked me to find you, to make sure you weren't alone. I'm not alone, Anna replied. Mrs. Calder takes care of me. She's not rich, but she's here. Cassandra's chest ached. She'd built empires and made headlines, but this teenager, with a broken voice and steel in her spine, saw right through her. I don't want your money, Anna said before Cassandra could offer it. I want someone who means it when they stay. I do, Cassandra said. I didn't come here to fix the past. I came to ask for a chance to be part of what's left of the future. Anna looked at her for a long time. Then she picked up her book and walked toward her room, At the door, she paused. "Don't make promises," she said, not looking back, "unless you're ready to keep them." The door clicked shut. Cassandra stood in the silence, the weight of her past pressing into her bones. But for the first time in years, she didn't walk away. 3 days passed. Cassandra returned to Banyan Street each afternoon, sitting on the same porch, waiting, hoping. But Anna never came out of her room. Mrs. Calder offered warm tea and quiet sympathy. "She's been through more than a girl her age should," she said on the second day. She trusted exactly 3 people. Her mother, Jeb, and now, maybe, she's wondering if she should risk a 4th. Cassandra nodded, saying little. She didn't know what to offer a girl who had already lost too much. Guilt curled inside her like smoke. It wasn't enough to show up. She needed to stay. On the 4th morning, Mrs. Calder opened the door with a worried expression. "She's gone." Cassandra froze. "Gone where?" "She left early, packed a small bag, said she needed to be somewhere her mother once took her. I thought, maybe she told you." Panic bloomed in Cassandra's chest. She turned on her heel and ran to her car, her thoughts spinning. Where would Elena take Anna to feel safe? They'd never traveled far. It had to be somewhere familiar. Then it hit her. The old church near South Ridge. The same church where she'd found Jeb. Elena and Cassandra used to sit behind it as teens, escaping the world, watching the sunset through the trees. Maybe Anna had found that place through stories. The car raced through the thinning morning traffic. Cassandra's mind flickered through the years. Elena's laugh, their rooftop promises, the day she walked away. It all pressed against her ribs, now urgent and alive. When she arrived, the chapel yard was empty. Or so she thought. Then, beneath the old tree, she saw her. Anna was sitting cross-legged in the grass, the letter from Elena spread open in her lap. Cassandra walked slowly, unsure if she was welcome. She stopped a few feet away. "You found it," she said softly. Anna didn't turn. "She used to bring me here when Jeb was too sick to walk. She said it was the one place she remembered being happy." "I know," Cassandra replied. "It was our escape, too." A long silence stretched between them. Then Anna spoke, still not facing her. "Why did you leave her?" The question pierced deeper than any accusation. Cassandra sat down in the grass, knees bending stiffly. "I was terrified," she admitted. "Success started to feel like survival. I thought if I looked back, I'd fall behind. So I convinced myself I didn't need anyone." Anna finally turned her head, eyes unreadable. "And now? Now I realize people aren't distractions. They're the reason to keep going." Anna's fingers brushed the edge of the letter. "She said I had your fire, but I don't feel strong." "Strength doesn't always roar," Cassandra said. "Sometimes it just means staying when it's easier to leave." Anna's gaze fell again. "I don't know if I want you in my life, but I hate how badly I want to say yes." Cassandra nodded. "Then let's not decide today. Let's just sit. Here, quietly." They sat under the shade of the tree, the wind, whispering through the leaves. After a while, Anna spoke again. "I'm scared that if I let you in, you'll disappear like everyone else." Cassandra reached out, palm open on the grass between them. "Then I'll stay until you're sure." Anna didn't take her hand. Not yet, but she didn't move away either. As the sun dipped lower, painting gold across their shoulders, something shifted in the stillness. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But a beginning. And sometimes, that's enough.